Alright, sitting in the carport garage today, trying to figure out what springs I need to run 11.0. I thought we had ordered some 3-pound springs, but apparently we didn't. So ordered some 3 and 5-pound springs from Summit and had them overnighted. It was like 22 bucks extra for shipping, but that'll be worth it if they get here tomorrow. If they don't get here tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe just put it on the 8 pounds and send it with that extra timing that's in it, and it not pulling timing until 150 degrees intake air temperature. Before I had it like pulling timing at like 120 degrees intake air temperature and ran like a 10-2. So in reality, if it wasn't doing that and it was at 20 degrees instead of 17 degrees, it could have ran faster. But I think a 3 or 4 pound spring is going to do it, because the 7-pound spring went from 5 to 8 pounds. So you figure that's 70 to 114% on that spring. So I did 70 and 114% on these. So the 5-pound spring should give me 3.5 to 5.7. The 3-pound spring should give me 2.1 to 3. Just call it 2.21 to 3.5. And no matter how I math this, now 1 pound of boost is going to make more of a difference up here when you're going slower than when it is when you're going faster. Like for instance, I added 2 pounds and it was only 0.13 per pound, but up here it was 0.32 per pound, mathing it out. So I kind of did this thing, and then I kind of, 12.2 minus 0.32 4 times, and no matter how I did it, it came to 3 or 4 pounds. So I'm right in between. This one only go down to 3.5, but I'm gonna put the 5-pound spring in it, and I'm gonna close the boost controller as low as it'll go on the negative side. I dropped you. Are you okay? But yeah, as low as it'll go on the negative side, and have the wastegates hooked up. And then we'll have some adjustment there. And then we even have more adjustment if we just unhook the wastegates. But this pressure comes off the turbo, and it helps open the wastegate. I think I explained this before. But yeah, that pressure, you got the pressure from the boost trying to push this open. You can't get rid of that. And then through here, you got the pressure pushing up. There's a diaphragm right here, pushing up on the diaphragm to help open it. Now when you get a boost controller, you got this pressure plus this pressure trying to keep it closed. And the MAC valves, they kind of redirect the pressure. For more boost, they'll take pressure away from here and then add pressure up here. But anyway, for a manual boost controller, it goes on the bottom port and it just helps push that open. On the minus, it lets the air go all the way through. And then as you turn this to the plus, it lets the air out. There's some holes up here, but it lets the air out. And you can adjust this and it'll let more air out. The more air out you let out, the less help it's getting to push this open. So the more boost you make. Because when this open, your boost comes up here and right out the pop. But yeah, that's the idea. So all the way on negative, the 3-pound will give me 2 to 3.5. The 5-pound will give me 3.5 to 5.7. And we already know the 7-pound will give me 5 to 8. We've already ran the 7-pound. The funny thing is, the springs that are in it, they give me 2 sets of springs. And one was supposed to be a 7, one's supposed to be a 13, but I've used both of these sets of springs and they both act like 7-pound springs. So we're going to start with a 5-pound spring. Close the boost all the way down so all the pressure is going to the wastegate to try to help open it, to try to get the lowest boost we can get. And then if that gets us close, we can just lower the timing a little bit to get us where we need to be. And I don't like to go too low on timing because that's a bad thing too. So if I have to go too far, I just live a half mile from the track. I'll drive home, Boom, switch them out. Put the 3-pound spring in, go back and try again. It'll be Friday. And then Saturday, we'll do the race and try to win 11.0 index. I don't know if they're going to, it says they're going to run all the classes separate like I-64 does. They run all, it doesn't matter if there's 2 cars in there, they run them all separate. But last time Kentucky Dragway, I guess they didn't have enough cars, so they combined them all. So you still had to run your index, but you could be a 11.0 car running a 13.0 car, which I guess is better than just pure bracket racing. Don't get me wrong, I like bracket racing. I love to do it, but I'd rather do index. I'd rather do heads up if I could afford to go that fast, but index is the next best thing. Bracket racing's fun, but for me, index is funner, and then heads up is even funner. But I like bracket racing too, don't get me wrong. We'll probably put the 3-pound spring in this thing and go bracket racing. I just don't want to run low 10-second passes bracket racing. This track will let you run, I think, a 9.9 in Sportsman. Some tracks won't let you run but like 11.5, but in Sportsman it's got to be foot brake, and I think over here they'll let you run as fast as a 9.9 or a 10. But anyway, we'll get these springs changed, and then hopefully they'll come in tomorrow by the time I get off work. The track goes hot at 6:30 p.m. We'll get the springs in it, we'll go test drive it, and we'll get the AFR correct. 11.5. Probably don't need to be exactly 11.5, just 3-4 pounds of boost, but we're going to put it at 11.5. And then we'll hit the track and go from there. Alright, springs came in. We're going to toss these 5-pound springs in there. Still a little torn. I don't know if I should try the 3 pounds, but I think the 5 turned all the way down. Take some timing out. I think that'll do it. Alright, driving to the car wash. The idle and the cruise and the wide open throttle AFR already seem perfect. I hit it a couple of times with the 5-pound springs in it. I'm not sure what kind of boost it's making, but we'll we'll find out when we get to the car wash. Okay, car's all cleaned up, and it made 4 pounds of boost. We'll see. We might have to go home and change that spring. We'll see. Alright, we're at Kentucky Dragway, but we got a problem. This 2-step box is doing the same thing. It just started it on the way here. So maybe that LNC 2008 bad. It's just something in my wiring or something. I don't know. I see some people say you got to put a diode somewhere. Maybe I have to do that. I don't know, but I got it routed straight off the button and then over to the 2-step and then to the relay. I'm gonna come out of the relay and then hit it, because if it shorts out any, I don't know. I mean, the trans brake would come on in first gear if that was going off. I don't get it. I don't get it. So today we're foot braking, which trans brake in index class, man, it helps a ton. But we're foot braking today, and might have to turn it up just to get that 11 on foot brake. Alright, so 2-step is turned off, unplugged. I'm still going to use the trans brake, and I'm going to just try to hold it at a lower RPM. That's probably going to help us get to our 11 anyway, because it's making 4 pounds of boost. I'm guessing that's going to be a 10.8, 10.9, I don't know, we'll see. So I was going to treat the trans brake like a foot brake. I let off the trans brake and I forgot to push the throttle down. Until I got out about 60 feet, and then I was like, oh, push the throttle down. But it only ran at 12.3 at 111. Look at that 62.0. 796 in the 8th. Yeah, I'm just going to try foot braking it one time, see what that does. Something else I noticed on that pass, my gauges were bouncing all over the place. It's never done that before. I don't know what's going on, guys. We'll keep trying. Well, that time I did everything right. I think I only had it at like 1,000 RPM when I launched. Look at that 60 foot. That ain't much better than the last one. It ran at 1205. In this weather, this thing usually runs like a 12.6 in this weather, so it's actually only making like 2 to 3 pounds of boost now, according to the laptop, with that 5-pound spring, which is about right. I didn't think it'd make that much of a difference. I thought the car would run around 11. With a 7-pound spring all the way closed, it ran at 10.6, but that was better air. The DA today's about 3,000. But let's just leave it there. I'm gonna foot brake one, see what it runs. But I'm gonna leave there and run the 12.0 index, I guess. Well, I went home and my hair's all messed up from that helmet and sweating. But I went home and I fooled with the wires a little bit for like 30 minutes. I just live a half mile up the road. And I came back, it still does it with it. All you gotta do is hook the 2-step up and it does it. And it did it with the LNC 2000 too. The LNC 2000, it lasted forever before it started doing it. Then all of a sudden it started doing it. And then this MSD 2-step, it worked for, I don't know, a few hits, and then all of a sudden it started doing it. If you guys know how to fix that, please hit the comments. I bought that. Apparently I bought that thing for no reason. There's maybe my solenoid's backfeeding or something. I don't know. The car's, I don't know, it's on like 3 pounds of boost, but it's going a lot slower than I thought it would on 3 pounds of boost. But we also have that big filter on there too, so that's slowing us down too. Plus the DA is like 3,000. It's terrible air today. But look at this, 12046. I think I'm gonna stick with that and just run 12.0. So just as I thought that spring would do, like 3.5 pounds of boost. But I mean, what, at 5 pounds? Ran at 10.6, 5 or 6 pounds. But look at that injector duty cycle now. See, that's what I'm talking about. But it's only running 12.0. I got that filter on there. I bet that filter, it's just a cheap filter. It's actually made for a motorcycle, I think. I bet that filter's choking it to death. Up towards the end, I was making 4. Yeah, mainly most of the way through there, 3.5 to 4. But I bet that filter's choking it to death. But it don't matter though. We're running 12.0 perfect, so that's what we're going to go with. But that time we went straight up foot brake. 12.19. Look at that light. I'm gonna run some Sportsman tonight. 12.19. Just on foot brake. I've been using the trans brake button, but I've only been revving it to like 1,500, 2,000, then letting off the button and hitting the gas. I'm gonna need to do that on the Pro Tree just because it's gonna help me get a better light. Oh, also, don't pay any attention to that number. That's the wideband. I can't get the wideband to read correct through the scanner. It used to read correct, but for some reason it's not now. But the gauge reads 11.5 all the way down the track, so I don't know why that's reading off. See the volts? Those volts should actually equal, I don't know, I read it down somewhere, but that, I don't know what it's doing. But we're gonna do a foot brake, 6-foot Trostman trophy, and not able to get y'all any passes of the run, I suppose. I ain't got nobody to videotape. I got that GoPro, but it's kind of boring watching that going down the track because you really can only see in front of me, which will probably be racing some slower cars, so maybe I'll turn it on later. Alright guys, I ain't been recording much because my battery is shot. Someone's having to jump me every round. The first round I red lit and broke out. I dialed in 12-12. I red lit and broke out. So I bought back in. I cut a 002 light. Run 12-14 on a 12-12 on the brakes. Yep. Got the win. On to the third round. Well, it says it's charging. Every round somebody's got to jump me. My buddy Willis has been jumping me off. But there's 4 cars left for the King's Hammer 6-foot trophy. I'm having to get a jump every time as long as I keep it running. I got to keep it running in the lane, so I think we got plenty of gas for 2 more rounds. So we'll see what happens. There you guys have it. I caught a 091. It was a terrible light. He caught a really good light. But see, he broke out. But look, I broke out more. So if I knew I couldn't get to him, which I did pass him at the stripe, but it caused me to break out to pass him because he cut such a better light. He had a .089 head start, so call it just let's call it .09. And then he broke out. But if I would have pushed up on him and then just dumped him right at the end and let him cross first, I might not have broke out. And then he would have broke out and I'd have won. But I tried to push by him thinking I could still. I don't know why the car picked up. I did my burnout the same. I launched the same. I did everything the same. But it's air's getting cooler. These turbo cars, they pick up more and more as the air gets cooler. But tomorrow, if we can get our battery fixed, we'll run 12.0 index. I'm having to Willis over there. He's having to give me a jump every freaking round. He's going to have to give me a jump so I can get home too. But I mean, I drove around some today and tested it today, and it started just fine every time. But now it will not start. I've checked all the connections; they're tight. I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see y'all tomorrow for some